Chris, thanks for filling us in on the new hydrogen plant coming soon. And on to another Chris. This one, Chris Bittle, St. Catharines MP. He's here to talk housing in Niagara. Chris, some support for first-time home buyers and other supports in the recent federal budget.
Absolutely, and it was something we were hearing at the doors during the campaign is people worried they weren't going to be able to buy their first house. So what there'll be an expansion of the first-time home buyers credit, which for obviously first-time home buyers can take advantage of, and a tax-free savings account, again, for first-time home buyers to help them get into the market. But I think the biggest news, and I think the thing that worries people the most is in terms of supports for getting more houses built. There is a supply issue in terms of the number of houses out there, and that is the bulk of the work or bulk of the money in the federal budget to ensure that we build more so that there is greater supply and that we can stabilize the market and stabilize the price.
Can we dig into some of those particulars that will increase the supply of housing?
Absolutely. The biggest one is the Housing Accelerator Fund. I believe it's about $4 billion. And this will be working with municipalities. There's really only so much the federal government can do. We can come up with the money, and that's what this budget is proposing. I believe there's about $14 billion in housing initiatives. But we need our provincial and municipal partners to step up. And I know the City of St. Catharines is ready to do it. They need some support and some help, and we will be there. But in terms of zoning and planning and the legislation that regulates those activities, it's all through the province, and the municipalities determine single family, rental properties, high rises, density. Those things are the things we need to talk about, because far too often, and this isn't a knock on city councils right now, we've been doing it for decades where someone proposes a higher density unit, 50 residents come up angry to the city council meeting, it gets turned down, and we don't build that housing, and we end up with urban sprawl, which we've been doing now for decades, and we're in a housing crunch. And in St. Catharines, there's no more building lots. So the only option we have is to go up or increase the density that already exists. And so we're going to be there with the funding, but we need provincial and municipal partners as well.
Also in the budget, a one-time $500 payout to help people facing housing problems.
Absolutely. And so we've been addressing the chronic homelessness piece from the start of our mandate back in 2016, building thousands of units across the country, tens of thousands of units, including the first affordable housing development through Niagara Regional Housing in St. Catharines since the 1970s. And even that shows the problem that we have with housing, that we haven't built truly affordable and subsidized housing in St. Catharines since before I was born. We are going to look at every option available, and we have to be addressing at all levels. It can't just be all subsidized housing. We need to be addressing low, especially that missing middle, where especially first-time home buyers or seniors looking to downsize into a smaller place, and that market just is on fire and no one can get into it. And you don't have that movement in the housing market, which creates many of the problems that exist today.
When will we see some of these changes, some of these payments take effect?
Absolutely. So the budget is a planning document. It will be passed shortly. However, that doesn't necessarily do anything. The Budget Implementation Act always comes out afterwards. It usually passes before the House rises in June. So in the lead up to that and during the summer, we'll see these programs being announced. Follow me on social media and I'll be sure to explain many more of the details that are coming out when they become available and when the departments determine the eligibility and criteria for the program. So,
Chris, thanks very much for joining us today to bring us the details.